Okay, I just want to show you a demo of DayDream eSigns. The software supports up to 3 separate monitors which can run independently. That is, they can run a list of their own items, so you could have 3 separate departments, or you could have 3 separate screens displaying multiple items on each one. There's no limit to how many items you can display, but it does have a limit on how many items will display at a time. In this case, we have 8 items at a time minimum, and so it'll display a page of 8 items one at a time. And it'll continue and just scroll through those constantly all day long. It also has sports ad image rotation. So over to the right hand side, you'll see where there's a little ad that can run. You can have up to 6 ads running consecutively. Also, with each page change, it'll be a different ad depending on how many items per page and how many pages. All that will depend on the ad how the ad rotation actually rotates. You can also just have one. Yep, if you turn on the ad rotation, then you have to have at least one ad, but you do not have to use all 6. And again, with the items, you do not have to have all. It depends on how many rows you want to put in there. It doesn't have to be, hundreds of items. It could only be 6 or 8 items. It could be all just your sale items. It does support, as an option, you could have the PLU on the screen. As you can see, you can have the price per unit. You can see there's an organic image that shows up. That's an option. If it detects a produce item with a 5-digit PLU, starts with a 9, which is a standard organic PLU, then it will automatically show that as an option. If the item is on sale, or it can show a sale image. As you can see in one of these screens, we'll come up here in a second. And then it'll also, beside that, it'll also show the savings per item, if there's a savings. If the item is a scale item, it will always show just per pound, no matter what. No matter what the system has, it will show per pound because that is the proper thing. In SMS, if you've defined those measure units, it will show whatever measure unit you have, and it'll determine everything, the price per unit based upon those measure units that are defined. We'll go more into technical details later. And this will just consistently scroll all day. On reboot, there's configuration that will automatically launch these screens. It will hide the Windows Explorer, and it'll just launch these screens in full screen mode and just consistently flow through them every day. Generally, we'll set this as an auto reboot, maybe like in the middle of the night, so that it just to freshen up the screen and keep the cache going. The images should be relatively quick because once the pages are cached on initial load, they just stay cached in there. The mouse also hides, as you can see. If you move the mouse around, I've left so that we can see the mouse if we need to do something with it. Generally it's going to be remote screens anyway, so the worst you want to do is reboot or desktop or BNC into this red computer. The text for the ads are also definable. You can define the fonts, you can define the colors, you can define everything. There are backgrounds that you can put on here, like a chalkboard. It's all style driven, so there's a style sheet that can be changed. The style sheet is global, so if you're going to do a chalkboard, you have to do it on the same on each one. And we could just get out of this. So if you want to get out of it, just press F11 and you can close it, or you can leave it running. Like I said, generally in a live environment, the Explorer is going to be hidden, the Windows Explorer, so you're not even going to see a desktop. We're going to have to launch the Windows Explorer, which will be documented. There's 5 icons that install automatically. One of them is Start eSigns, which is going to launch these screens when you load up. There's an eSigns help, which has all the help documentation for the program that kind of explains all the stuff. There's a PC restart. This is the, this is just going to restart. If I click this, it'll restart the computer. If you accidentally click it, you got 30 seconds to cancel. eSigns administration, so we'll launch that up. I'm just going to put admin. So we have a default password for the store, and also there'll be a default password for Crasdale, which is the typical. On this screen, you can see this is a licensed product. You'll have a site ID. The site name will be a store name. License expiration. Your software key will be here. POS type will always be SMS. eSign is the mask that you will put in the SMS. So it'll be eSign 1, eSign 2, or eSign 3, depending on which screen you want to show on, or eSign star if you want something to show on all 3 screens. You can launch the screens from here just to get a preview of them. This is a little bit different than the other one because it just launches a preview window more than going into full screen mode. Made an admin login. So we got some screen management here. I can edit the config, and let's just say this is my produce department. I'll just call it fresh produce. This is my ad rotator. I can turn this on and off per screen. The refresh timer, 1,000 is 1 second, so every 5 seconds this will rotate. I'm showing 8 lines on each screen. Blank image is if the product image does not exist, it'll show a generic blank image, whether it's a box, and the store can define this. Just a blank box. It could say save at store name on it. It could be just a store logo, whatever you want it to be. PLU order will show the items in PLU order, or if you uncheck it, it'll show it in alphabetical order. Show PLU will turn off the actual PLU. We'll just go ahead, and then show organic will turn off the organic logo. The other settings like sale are global setting that we probably won't cover today. If I save the config now and I launch my screen, you'll see now here this comes up initially. You can see now if I go into full screen mode, now it says my fresh produce is up on the top, and now these items, you can see my PLU is now gone. And it's showing now in alphabetical order rather than PLU order. I get it again. I can hit F11 and get out of there. So right now it only supports Chrome, so Chrome would have to be installed. Product image management. We can work on the thumbnail images that show up. We automatically give almost 500 PLU or images that are standard produce images. All you need, the images are all either JPG or PNG, and you need the PLU code without zeros. So if you just PLU code or UPC code, in this case you can see this is Mountain Dew 2 liter. If I add this item to the screen, which we'll do that in a minute here, you can add it, and if it's you can add PLU codes in there through the uploader, and then it'll show up here, and they'll automatically display on the image scrolling. The ad rotator, I mean the logo is global, so that's not per screen, but the images we can change, or the fonts, we can change the font. Just say we want to use Helvetica, we want it to be bold italic, and we want it to be green, and just say we want it to be 34. I save that, and I can also change my ad image that displays along with this text. So you always have a banner text and a logo that goes along with it. Once I'm done, I just save ad changes. Then it's going to show up that way. we get to that screen here. Eventually here it should show up. I think that was screen 0, so that's going to be the very first image. You can see now it shows it in the image the text format that I told it to. You always have a current working screen. So in this case, I'm working on screen 1. I can work on screen 2 or screen 3 and then change the screen. For item management, there's 2 ways to do it. One, you can just set the fields that we'll talk about later in a technical call within SMS and just define these items, or you could do it within this item management screen. I can quick add a PLU code, and so all I need to do is put in, let's just say we want to add Mountain Dew 2 liters to this. We can quick add it, and then it's going to show up. And these are all the items that are rotating on that screen. You can see now that Mountain Dew is going to show up on that screen. I can easily just remove an item. So if I don't want, let's just say I don't want Red Delicious apples, I just click on remove, and it'll remove that item from stop scrolling. And these are all automatic. The next page, it'll change. It'll automatically refresh. I can do a quick remove PLU code. I can remove all screen items, so I can totally clear this. Maintenance mode, all it does, it doesn't remove the items. It renames the items to a maintenance mode flag, and then the screen will display, and I'll show you here. So now it's going to say the screen has no defined items or is in maintenance mode, and if I look at the screen, it's going to say screen is in maintenance mode. So that's what the customer is going to see on their side. When I'm done, maybe I'm making some changes, maybe you're modifying it, we could take maintenance mode off, go back over, and the screen starts right back up without any kind of interaction whatsoever. It'll just start right back up and start displaying the items. I can quick add a list of PLU codes. So if I have a list, I don't have a list on me right now. If you have a list of PLU codes, I'm just going to make up some here. Add PLU codes, and it'll add those items if some of them may have already been in there. So it won't double up. It's just going to add those items that all to this same screen. I can add a PLU code to all screens. So if I wanted that Mountain Dew 2 liter show up on all screens, I just put it in there. I add the PLU to all screens, and now it's going to show up on all screens. So if I go to screen 2 here, this Mountain Dew 2 liter is showing up there. And if I go to screen 3, and the Mountain Dew 2 liter is showing up. And I can do the same thing. I can quick remove the item from all screen items. And the easy way just to remove it from all screens is just quick add it to one, and it'll change the flag back to just the screen. Or you can just remove it and quick remove the PLU code. You can toggle back to the regular management screen. Generally, once this is set, there won't be a lot be done. But they will be using product image. You don't have to use this. You can just physically copy the files into a folder that we can show the store how to do. As long as it's the PLU code up to 13 digits and it's a JPG or a PNG, it'll automatically detect it and use it. The overall look of the screen is not the same. It's a global setting, so I can do that. I can go here. So if I want to change the overall look of the screen, I'm going to go to the server here. So on the server, and generally this will probably be the SMS server. DayDream eSigns. Web. Add it with Notepad. And let's just say there are some built-in things that I know are there. But so in this case, these are font sizes. There's a few things here. The global ad rotator. So if you do a global ad rotator, only the ad rotation 1 will show up on any screen. So you don't have to do it separately per screen. Display price per unit is a global setting because generally it's going to be all. You're not going to if it's a law in your state, then you got to display it anyway. Display savings image you can turn on or off. Displays savings dollars you can turn on or off. You can set the admin user for each store. You can give them one admin user right currently. On top of this is the Crasdale one. If I want to change the overall style of the thing, I can edit the style sheet. There just happens to be I'll just do green. There's a default background image that's green that kind of looks like a chalkboard. This is my header colors. I can change these colors within here, and it supports RGB numbers, or just usually you can just, if you know, you have to know what you're doing, so you don't want the store to just do this. But because they can really screw up the whole look of everything. But the default font, the grid. So the grid rows are what the item displays. Product image width and size. You can set the product image border. So you can do a lot of stuff with this, but I'm going to leave that screen there. Save that. And we'll go back from the server. So if you change the style, you're going to have to at the very least, restart the signs program on each one. Sometimes you may have to see, and you can see now we've got a green background. Sometimes you may have to go actually clear the browser cache on the computer that's got the displays as well. So it depends on how the caching. Generally, you should just have to restart the program or just restart the computer, which could be probably set up as a remote process as well. So that gives you a pretty good overview of the program. Sometimes it's better to have a background like this because it does give a whole general overall display better than just a white background if the page doesn't have 8 items in it. So as you can see, when you get to the last page, it has kind of a more shaded area on the top. But the store can also define up here, like you see on the top, there's a little bit shaded green, so you can't really tell it's not a whole page overall. But so the store can find a background, or if they have one, we can work with them on that. That'll be part of the setup charge anyway. So if I do take those changes, one more thing, I come over here to my admin side. Maybe just reload it. It still has everything there. And that's